If you are seeing this video, it is because the world did not end on Tuesday, September 23rd like Christian Talk told me it would. Ooh, or it did end and we're the chosen few now living in paradise. But in that case, why the hell would I be uploading? I should be like getting frozen yogurt with triple toppings for an affordable price and petting Pomeranians. Welcome to Tyler's Kitchen, the world's first anti-cooking show where I talk about my interests, which include but are not limited to feminism, pop culture, history, and random shit I see on the internet with a few more jokes than is necessary and or appropriate. Today we are talking about #Rapture Talk, the evangelical Christian movement on TikTok that predicted that the end of times would be Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, which honestly would have been so annoying for me because I just bought a flight without insurance, so thank goodness. This all started when a South African pastor named Joshua received the following information in a vision from Jesus Christ on June 17th, 2025. Oh, I probably should have greased my pan. I think that needs to happen. I have a stick of butter that I use for pan greasing, so don't even fret, babes. This feels so old-timey. I love buttering a pan like this. It's just so satisfactory. He was telling me that by June 2026, the world is gearing up toward the World Cup, but after the rapture of September 2025, the chaos that will be in the world, the distraction and devastation that will occur in the rapture, there will be no World Cup 2026, which means there would be no Super Bowl 2026. And honestly, every year the Super Bowl makes me yearn for a rapture. Can we talk about how it's the least glamorous day of the year? The last thing I want to do is celebrate the mustiest holiday anybody ever came up with. 15 hours sitting around a stinky basement, listening to grown men scream at a TV set, run the line! I'll pass. Jesus, take the wheel. So you basically just want to lay out your crescent roll. This is one that you're going to want to follow along because these are delicious, I remember. In my recollection, these are like pretty great. I think I ate like 15 of these when we did them in school and my teacher probably got mad at me or something. So I think we're gonna take a half stick of butter and melt it. Although those videos were posted in June, as the day September 23rd grew closer and closer, his prediction got a lot of attention. Currently, #Rapture has over 300,000 TikTok posts on it. Over the past week, it has become a full-on movement. Because I don't even know where I would begin trying to explain this lore, I'll just let this video do it for me.
The Jesus is Coming Rapture Talk. Let me start this by saying, yes, there is a UN peace treaty that's going to be signed on September 23rd. Some are speculating that this peace treaty is going to usher the rapture. And yes, the Bible says we don't know the day or the hour, but let me put this into context for you. So you remember how Jesus ascended to heaven and he told the disciples to go out and spread the gospel. When they would go out and spread the gospel, they spoke in poem, they spoke in parables. People would ask, when is this going to happen? And they say, you don't know the day or the hour. This marked the season, the Feast of Trumpets. And what would happen is they would have two Jews that would wait for the moon to rise. And when the moon would rise, they would know that that was the time to start the Feast of the Trumpets. And they would know exactly what the disciples were saying when they said, you don't know the day or the time. The Bible also tells us that we will know the season. Back to September 23, 24, the UN is signing a peace treaty. We believe that maybe this red heifer has been sacrificed, which will usher in the third temple. Starting on September 23rd, if that peace treaty is signed, there is a 7 years, 2032, which aligns with another feast, and you can look all this up.
Rapture trip tips. I recommend you go out and buy a couple fresh packs of undies to wear for the next month. Throw all the old underwear away. Imagine after you've been harpazoed, your clothes float back down. You don't want someone's last impression of you to be your old underwear. Paul should have said, may your whole body, soul, and spirit and underwear be without blemish until the coming of the Lord.
You know what? I too have underwear advice. I always tell my girlfriends, keep a teeny tiny pair of cute undies in your glove box and in your purse because you never know when you meet a guy you're gonna want to harpose with. But the real question is, did you get a Brazilian for the rapture? I don't know, I want to know, ladies. Are you getting a Brazilian for the rapture? Rapture trip tip number 2, leave positive messages for those left behind. So the believers think that because they are true devout Christians, they will ascend into the sky to go to heaven, and then the rest of us will be here to deal with like terrible catastrophes for days and days and years on end while they're like chilling in heaven. So they wanted to leave behind information to explain what's happening to non-believers.
Hey guys, All right. What did I do today to prepare my home for the people that are left behind? Let me show you. I got these at the Dollar Tree. I just wrote these on here, like little notes. I also bookmarked some scriptures. There's the scriptures for you. And I wrote this in every single one of the books. So hopefully these books end up in the hands of people who will need them. All right. See you tomorrow.
This one makes me sad because I do think this is like kind of sweet. But if all the Christians really do ascend, the rest of us will be too busy getting gay marriages and abortions to read all that. But it is a really sweet offer. This lady actually posted a ton of videos for her rapture preparation advice. She also went on to recommend making this image your home screen. The rapture has begun. Many believers have been taken to heaven. This is a biblical event where God calls his people home. After this, tough times may come, including a period called the tribulation. A figure called the Antichrist will rise, offering a mark of the beast, a mark in the hand or forehead to control people. Mark of the beast? Sounds like a very intense Mr. Beast video. I'm just saying. Come on, Jimmy. Don't take it, as it could separate you from God. Stay kind, help each other, and seek truth. I'm gone, but I hope you find peace and safety. Just in case somebody who's left behind opens up your phone and tries to learn more. This is such a sweet sentiment. Unfortunately, I think I would be more confused by the watermark at stop with the butthole cramp. Could you imagine being like, yeah, I heard we're gonna get raptured. I'm nervous. Oh, what's your source on that? This lady I follow on TikTok at stop with the butthole cramp. Gee, I hope her butthole cramp goes away in heaven. That's tough. So you take your cinnamon sugar mix and you just kind of cover your crescent roll in it. Gonna preheat the oven. Okay, you see how I've prepared this? I've spread my cinnamon sugar mixture. Now I'm going to take a marshmallow. You're going to be taking your marshmallows and rolling them your crescent rolls. And you end up with like this weird little thing. Then you cover it in more of your cinnamon sugar butter paste. And that's it. Should be good. Rapture trip tip number 3. Quit your job.
So I am working my last shift right now before the rapture because I'm not scheduled to come back until like the 25th. So I am dunzo here. And this just feels surreal. Dude.
And he's not the only one I saw quitting his job. I saw multiple videos of people quitting their jobs for the rapture. And you know, I think we can all relate to getting the Sunday scaries so bad we pray for God to end the world. Hey, at least this might have a positive effect on the job market. Rapture trip tip number 4. Decline plans and keep your schedule open.
Another way to help prepare people that you might go missing because you're harpazoed without looking crazy is to leave subtle hints during conversation. How about brunch this Sunday? That sounds great. I'll be there. Well, unless Jesus calls me up and I get raptured.
I genuinely can't tell if this is satire or not. I think it is, but also she checks so many boxes for what this person looks like, no offense. And this one's hard for me because I would absolutely love to go to brunch with this woman. I mean, could you imagine the liberation you'd feel when you go out with her and you show her your ex's new girl and she absolutely obliterates her? Because you know she's the type to do that. She would just gas you up so, being on her team in a war, it would just feel amazing. Watching reality TV with her, unmatched. I want to hang out with her so bad. She had just so much important advice. I am a big fan, and honestly, I hope she doesn't get raptured because she's just too much of a hoot. Her talents would be wasted. We need you in the trenches, ma'am. Rapture trip tip number 5. Leave it all behind. Yes, there have been numerous stories of people selling their houses, their cars, giving stuff away for free, all because they think they're getting raptured.
Guys, I'm saying goodbye to my car. I've had it for 5 years. They're taking it. Oh, this is my baby, man. This has been my baby for years. 5 years. But she's gotta go. I won't need her beyond September because I'm going home to where my Father in heaven is. She's a nice car, isn't she? I kept that baby clean. Some scratches around it, but for the most part, she's nice. But she's mine no more. Someone else is gonna get her. I'm catching a flight to heaven in September anyway. I won't need the car. Roar! Roar!
I'm just wondering, did he sell it for free? Or does this version of Christianity allow you to take money with you? And you know what? I'm assuming it probably does, because why else would those mega church pastors be so damn rich? Maybe you bring your money to heaven. That's why you do tithing. The tithing goes directly to making heaven cooler. I just think we're so lucky that the rapture is happening in the digital age so that we can keep up with all the newest information and get amazing viral tips like this. And if you weren't fully convinced, there's a whole other side of rapture talk that's for spreading the message and preaching at people.
Okay guys, I think I have more Feast of Trumpets rapture confirmation, and this may be my favorite one so far. I posted a video yesterday of 3 minor Feast of Trumpets rapture confirmations, and the first one I talked about was with my 9-year-old daughter, and how the Lord spoke something to her in a different language, and it turned out to be Rosh Kodesh, which means new moon. Now, why this was significant is because of the vision he gave her prior to that. Go watch the video before this if you want more details. I don't want to drag this video on forever. Rosh Kodesh means new moon, and Feast of Trumpets is the only feast that is centered around the new moon. And the Lord has been showing me in scripture for the last week in Amos 8 how this ties to the rapture and to the beginning of tribulation. That whole chapter is about that, and it mentions the new moon, and it mentions twice about how the Lord will be turning their feasts into mourning and lamentation and grieving. So it ties in to the rapture, the new moon feast, the Feast of Trumpets, the rapture and tribulation beginning.
I'm mind boggled by this, but at the same time, this is nothing new to me because this is how Swifties sound to non-Swifties. Also, I have to say, this whole Rosh Kodesh thing, I gotta imagine your kids are probably just repeating what they've heard you talking about on TikTok for like a full week. I don't know, this is another one that just kind of makes me sad. So obviously, the rapture did not happen on September 23rd, and part of me feels like sad for these people because a lot of them were like really excited for it and did a lot of like preparation and work. I don't know. This has got to be a weird identity crisis moment, but I also think these kind of people almost always have some sort of explanation out of it, like the Lord wasn't ready, the world was too wicked, or Mercury was in retrograde. It's like there's always an explanation that kind of fits their world view. I think very, very rare will this ever shake somebody's belief. Cooler days call for layers that last. And my off-camera uniform has been the same for a full year. Basic top, cardigan, pant. These days I'm literally just looking for something that I can wear to the mall, but I can also wear to a meeting without looking like I literally just rolled out of bed. And when we're on the topic of uniforms, I know that I want mine to be from Quince. And let me tell you, this Mongolian cashmere sweater is so soft that I think I finally understand why people always pet themselves in commercials. Then I paired it with the ultra stretch pin tuck ponte ankle pants. These are timeless, cute, and so cozy. I can feel my prefrontal lobe developing because I'm like, it's worth it to buy something that's actually nice. The magic, you might ask? Quince works with top-tier ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen. And what does this mean for you? You get luxury level quality at half of the price of those brands that make you feel judged for just walking in the door. Sorry, am I supposed to be here? So it is time to upgrade your fall staple items with Quince. And for my Canadian baddies, you can now get in on the action too. So that's quince.com/Tyler for free shipping and 365-day returns. Once again, QUINCE.com/Tyler. Back to the video. Shop now using the link in my description. So of course, don't go send hate to these people. This is probably a really hard time for them. And honestly, this is far from the first time that we've survived the end of times. There was the Mayan calendar on December 21st, 2012. The Mayan long count calendar was interpreted by some to mark the end of the world. In reality, scholars clarified that it actually just marked the end of a calendar cycle and not the apocalypse. They were just entering a new era, guys. This is just me when I make a new vision board. There was the year 1000 AD, Christian millennium fears. During this time, Europeans feared that Christ would return and the world would end with a millennium. But the reality was that things just went the same as they always did. So sad they didn't have TikTok though, because that would have been so fun for them. So basically, these are our resurrection rolls. The marshmallow represents Jesus, and you'll see why they're called that in a few minutes. Then there were the Millerites. They were led by William Miller, who predicted Christ would return between March 21st 21st, 1843, and March 21st, 1844. So important. If you're predicting an end of time, make it kind of loosey-goosey and ambiguous so people can't point in your face. However, 1844 passed right on by, and it was called the Great Disappointment. When Jesus didn't appear, followers were devastated. The event led to the formation of the Seventh-day Adventists. He really fumbled. Guys, that's why I said you gotta be ambiguous with your timeline. There was Harold Camping in 2011 who predicted the rapture to be on May 21st, 2011, followed by the world's end on October 21st, 2011. Of course, the result is nothing happened, but the fallout was devastating. People sold their homes, made major life decisions, emptied savings, invested in ridiculous fallout bunkers, all of these things. And then how gut-wrenching when it doesn't happen. I have to wonder where all these cult leaders get these weird random dates from. Is there a specific date? Do they have like a court date? Is that when their tickets are due? I don't know. And the last one I want to talk about is the Heaven's Gate cult from 1997. Members believed that a spacecraft was hiding behind Comet Hale-Bopp and they needed to leave their bodies to reach it. And this one actually ended in 39 casualties in a mass suicide in California. And I feel bad because I understand where these people are coming from, and I also feel bad because this is like literally religious psychosis. According to amfmtreatment.com, religious psychosis is not a standalone diagnosis, but rather a manifestation of psychotic symptoms where religious content predominates. It typically involves delusions, strongly held false beliefs, and hallucinations, which are sensory experiences without external stimuli. For example, someone might believe they are a prophet or hear divine voices giving them instructions. And here's where I say that I can relate to this topic. I grew up Mormon, and I fully understand and empathize with these people. And in the Mormon church, we were in a very similar mindset in constant doomsday preparation. The LDS faith has something kind of similar called the Second Coming. And in the Second Coming, the first thing that happens is signs appear. There's a whole checklist we'll go through. Then Christ comes. Then the wicked are destroyed. The righteous are brought up, the dead are resurrected, and the wicked have like a slow, painful, burning death. Like it's full World War Z terrifying end of times. Then fourth, the millennium begins. Christ reigns on earth for 1,000 years and it's peaceful and it's amazing. And then 5, there's the final judgment. After a last battle, all are judged and the earth becomes celestial. And for me, this always sounded like a lot of drama I was unprepared for as an 8-year-old girl. But there was this checklist of things that had to happen before we faced the big second coming and dealt with our version of rapture. There was the restoration of the gospel. Joseph Smith, check. Worldwide missionary work. God preached to all nations, check. Gathering of Israel. There was the temple construction. Check, 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 check. There's like 100 temples. Every time there was a new temple built, I would get so uneasy and scared. Widespread wickedness, moral decay, lawlessness. We always were taught to be scared of the outside world. Wars and rumors of wars. So anytime there was a new conflict in the world, I would be so scared. Natural disasters, seriously. An earthquake would happen and I would be not only scared of the earthquake, I would also be scared for God to come burn me to the ground. There would be signs in the heavens, a great division, and this one's kind of funny. Christ would return to Missouri. Yes, Missouri of all places. Kind of unglamorous. I wonder if he's going to the Cracker Barrel. And it wasn't like a thing where I was super locked in and studious that I was scared about this. We were taught it. Bruce McConkie, an apostle, once said, "We're living in the last days of the dispensation. The signs are all around us." Spencer W. Kimball, the 12th president of the church, said, "We're in a generation that must prepare the world for the second coming of Christ." They would literally do this during conferences and recorded talks, and we'd hear these and I'd be like, "You're kidding me." Gordon B. Hinckley, the 15th president of the church, said, "I am convinced that the Lord is preparing the world for his coming. There is much that lies ahead and it will not be easy." Every time there was an eclipse, because that's like one of the weird signs that we have to look out for, I panicked. Literally, my friends, we'd all talk about it. We'd look at the sun and we'd like shit ourselves. And keep in mind, every single person in Utah has a full storage room that is dedicated to a like fallout bunker with food storage and water and preparation for this whole end of times trial that we're supposed to go on one day. 2012 was so scary to me. I was so caught up in this like fear-mongering crap that during 2012, I legitimately was so convinced that the world was gonna end that I stayed home from school sick. And actually, when I was in college, my friend was going to BYU and she set me up on a double date with one of her friends. On our very first double date, this guy pulls up a Zillow listing of a house in Missouri and is like, "What do you think of this house?" And I was like, "I don't know, it's it's fine. He's like, I was thinking that my family is trying to move to Missouri soon because the end of times are coming and we want to be there when Christ comes back to Missouri. First date, on my first date with this man, he's saying this. Let's talk about the one that got away. I don't know. When I see these videos, I honestly was crying watching them last night because I just felt so bad and I understood them on such like a deep level. And I remember what it was like to be so scared of the world on around me and have this be the only explanation for any of it. So I 100% get it. Times are hard and sometimes there's something nice about knowing that somebody has your back. So if you're religious, I get it. I don't have any problem with that. And I think it's cool that you have something to believe in that's bigger than just yourself. Here they are. They look overcooked. They were only in there for like 1 second. What the heck? Why are they overcooked, bruh? They're a little golden brown for my taste. Okay, but notice the marshmallow is gone. Kind of like Jesus from his tomb. It's an Easter recipe. You see that? Yep. Wow, that's pretty good. So if you want to do these right, you can totally look up a recipe, but if you don't, you can just watch my video. I'm probably somewhat close. Let's see, this one looks really good. Ow, hot on my fingers. So some of the marshmallows are still there. Yeah, that looks amazing. Look at that. Look at that. Bravo. I think in many ways religion is a kind of sweet thing. Like it brings lots of people together. A lot of people like use it as a moral compass. And the world can be a really scary, intense place. And it's nice to have something to look forward to or explain everything. And it gives you sort of a higher purpose. So I get where these people are coming from. And in a lot of ways I relate to it. But I think the best thing that we can do is just try to make the world that we're in a better place. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and tell me your thoughts on this. Do we have like religious watchers? I want to know. That feels like crossing a boundary, but whatever. And if you extra like this video, please be sure to give it a share. It really does help. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.